Whenever someone announces a newer Toontown server that's up and coming, most of the time, the reception can be a little mixed. There could be plenty of reasons to why this is the case, but 99% of the time is, whenever one is announced, they usually die off really quickly. It's like for every 33 that are announced, only like one of them actually make it. Even when you think the project could actually succeed, it never does. Which is why I do think these newer Toontown projects get a bad rep nowadays. I totally get how people feel, considering each time we see one pop up, they fade away for one reason or another. However, one server that's been in the works for a while and has surfaced being Toontown Event Horizon. Normally, and me personally, when I heard about this server, I had zero care about it, which more on that later. Like, really? Another one of them, we're still doing this? Despite my doubts, they've been able to gain well over 40 people to work on the game in under a month, and they got some things produced during that time as well. Wow, a new game that's nearly the same amount of staff as Corporate Clash and is producing things that are just concepts and musics? Well, then the server probably must look awesome with what they've shown so far. Well, yeah and no. Let me explain. So let's go all the way back to 2020, when the idea of this game became public, and if you go a little further, we see talks about it in 2019, but in August 2020, the game known as Toontown Galaxy would start to come to light. Galaxy as a whole wasn't known too much during this time, but had instances of things happening with it. When originally after that whole Tooniversal drama fell out, people came to work on that game briefly, and when all those people decided to flock to Sugar Rush, they planned on merging the game, but some stuff happened which made that not happen, which good on Galaxy if they didn't want to have the title of Dead Toontown Project in the year 2021. So things would happen like some updates here and there, with teasers of showing a chat bar, a redone SOS card page, and even our first mentions of the Atomic gag track. In a now deleted Twitter post by Toontown Galaxy, they were talking about how the idea of having ray guns would be pretty cool while showing a Marvin the Martian gif. So fast forward a few months later, we were given our first teasers to the people testing it. Now when I was told some of the ideas here, I was starting to feel like some of this could link to Clash in a way, with one of the ideas being that they wanted to have a Sue feature, but then again, it might have just been a coincidence since it did have a different function than Sue's had in Clash, so I gave them the benefit of the doubt with that one. They also had other ideas for Galaxy, like Galaxy bots and some other cool things unrelated to Clash. But as time went on, I noticed more and more of these ideas just kept coming into the game, like the orbital camera, removal of gender, removal of like the gardening, and all other things. These ideas were all linked to the game Corporate Clash, which at the time made me feel like they were trying to make another Clash game than just a Toontown game in space. We really weren't seeing any of that, just these Clash ideas. Now something else also interesting was when someone called Pants joined the server, I felt like a lot changed with Toontown Galaxy. Things were picking up, teasers were coming out on the YouTube channel, and before you know it, a release date for all of the testers. Pants seemed really dedicated to Toontown Galaxy, considering at that time, he was only just a composer but made his way up to producer for the game, and he would even show his progress on Twitter sometimes of what he was working on with it. So the game's been better than ever, a release date was ready, all these cool ideas finally came into fruition. The game shut down 11 days later. Yep, overnight it seemed like the whole game died since pretty much everyone resigned after some drama that occurred. Wow, who would have guessed a drama killed a Toontown server? I'll be honest, it kinda sounds like some petty team drama that probably killed Toontown Galaxy, which I'm not going to really get into the specifics in. Pants pretty much gave a twit longer to his side of the whole thing, so if you want to read more about it, you can read it there. So it seems like after all of this, a rebrand was going to happen for the game to be called Toontown Event Horizon. Immediately hearing that, I simply didn't care. I don't know, I've seen instances of a game dying and then trying again under new management fail just way too many times for me to care. The only reason why Clash succeeded, I guess, was because they had prior experience with it, so you can't blame me for thinking that this was not going to work out at all. Later on, I did get some info about things that were planned, like Bonk and Atomic, Axolotl tunes. I'll complain about that later. The new battle system UI, promotion, all those details for what was to come with the testbed version. I was even told about the story as well, and how it was going to be a big and ambitious game with all these new areas and what they wanted to do with the story. I'll get into those details for another video since I'm not here to talk about that, but what they wanted to do just seemed way too much. They were making something I don't even think the Toontown rewritten team could handle. The space idea and exploration for it seems fine, but you gotta consider you're only working off of 20 people at the very most. I'm confident with saying with the team they had and the pace they were going, we would not see this version come to life this decade. It seems like the plans for rebranding was going to happen way before the falling out. It was planned to always just be called Toontown Event Horizon. But anywho, everyone hates each other, and some people from Galaxy come to return to work on the game, and they rebrand themselves as Toontown Event Horizon. Somehow, it could be because Pants and his friends may have connections, they quickly got a team of 40 people, and thus our technical beginnings of Toontown Event Horizon start here. So far, we have some teasers here and 4 videos from them, 3 of them being informative videos and 1 of them helping out with the game's lore. So I think it's appropriate we start off with the first ever Horizon talks.
What's that sound? This the sound of, mouse?
The video itself really isn't anything too special, it's kind of an introduction to everyone. For some reason, even though this could have been taken out of the video, they bring up the drama again and how they formed. I understand you want to explain to people how you got to this point, and there's nothing wrong with that, it just feels a little out of place in here. There really wasn't any reason for them to address it, but I guess I understand why they did it. If anything, I thought that was something they would have not wanted to talk about. They even did that in the Horizon Talks 2 for some reason, which I still really don't understand. He kind of briefly just talked about it, which was kind of odd. Basically, the plan from Galaxy is still pretty much there, and basically changing the ways they play Toontown, like the battles, and they also bring up the fact that they want to do shaders as well while using the Cog Invasion ones. Having shaders in Toontown Online, in my opinion, doesn't sound the best, since I feel like it makes the game look a little worse. However, we're being given our first glance at it, so let's be the judge of what they have to show us thus far. And it's okay. So first off, we're shown 3 things: the shaders, battle system, and this purple squirt gun, which I'm assuming is atomic. The new battle system idea in theory is cool, but we really aren't shown much of it in this, rather than a 6-minute timer. Atomic, well, is just unfinished. All it has was basically the status effects, and the shaders in this shot looks a little rough, along with some of the other screenshots. They also do cell shading, which I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know, how it looks in the game right now just looks really off. We also get shown some concepts here, which actually don't look too bad, and models that aren't finished. They're all just wired models here. And these models look like they could be some new tunes and even Cogs here. Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt with this Event Horizon talk, that they wanted to throw something out there just to pique people's interests. They ended off with a Q&A, and it's nothing too important for me to talk about. So far, while I think them getting literally all the people they need to help develop this game, they probably should have kept a low profile until they had a little more done, and while it's too late, but let's see what else they have in store to show off to people. Overall, I thought the game looked okay in this state so far. It was just only some unfinished things they threw together, but with all the things that they've planned and shown in this teaser, they definitely do have a long way to go to finishing up all of these ideas. Next is the Atomic Showcase video. So it looks like their first main focus has been bringing back to life the Galaxy idea of the Toons having ray guns. Now, while I think the concept doesn't really fit for Toontown, I think it could work. I mean, we do see it in space cartoons like Looney Tunes and, well, I'm sure somewhere else as well. I mean, I know it doesn't really fit compared to Spin or Zap, but let's give it a chance at least. Okay, so this video really confused me when I watched it. Like, it actually confused me when they were explaining it to me at first. So how they start the video was that they wanted to make it super clear that this wasn't finished and just wanted to let people know that this will be changed up and fixed in beta testing. The thing is here is that if this idea is still like in its very early stages and like still will be fixed up in the future, then this deserves to be in the next Horizon talk, not its own video. Because after this gag track is fixed, this video is going to be completely outdated. We're only shown 2 gag tracks in this trailer, and it really makes it feel like we're missing a lot with this. Sure, they do go over Atomic, but I feel like we're missing a lot from this introduction. It also doesn't help that this video felt really confusing to me when I first watched it. I don't know if this is a me thing when I watched it, but I felt a little lost when I was seeing the introduction to Atomic. I did give it a few rewatches, and I come to the conclusion on what this gag track is all about. So from my understanding, it's supposed to be a gag that gives Cogs atoms, and those atoms give them after effects, kind of like with Spin. However, different in a way that they can get some effects from like Cogs doing less damage, or the Cogs not attacking on that round, just some examples. You can also do something called an Atomic Blast, which does damage to the Cog, kind of like with Zap, I think, which it does a chain reaction. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got from it, and to be a little honest, maybe it was the way they explained it, but I kind of felt a little confused from that all. Atomic though does kind of worry me, where I feel like it's going to be one of those overly complicated gags that might not be as pick up and play like Zap. Zap has strategy, but it isn't like the hardest thing to figure out. I also gotta point out that these shaders and the cell shading that they're trying to still show still don't really look all that good in these clips. Again, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're still early in development, but places Spaces like Lava HQ really should have not been shown in these shots because they do not look good at all. It looks like the shaders have hardly worked there, and sure, some of the areas don't look bad in some shots, but areas like Lava HQ, I feel like they should have just done this somewhere else. The cell sheeting doesn't look any better in these shots of the building, as you can even see the atomic gags go through the tunes, and for some reason they don't even have textures. What's up with that? The atomic video was just giving me more mixed signals to what Event Horizon was gonna be like when it comes out. While the ideas are cool and we even get to see the battle system more, which I think looks really cool, atomic I feel like can be a cool idea for this game, but how it's being shown to me, I'm not too sure about it. They look like they needed more time to be worked on. Also, side note, why the heck are the cog death animations the rake effect when they get hit? Now, it only seems like they're doing this whenever they get hit with atomic, but still, I kind of find that to be a weird death animation. We were also given teasers of some new things as well, like the Astrobots and the story. First off, we have the Astrobots, which, fun fact, was actually Galaxy Bots before it became Event Horizon. Now, Astrobots personally feel like the weirdest cog department I think I've ever heard of. Even when I heard about them in Toontown Galaxy, this made me wonder how the heck these guys would work in Toontown. The thing is, while some of these guys have really good designs, which by the way, the artist who made this really hit it out of the park, these look amazing. However, with the cog type like this, unless they're doing more with their story or where they came from or a space area that makes more sense for them to be here, they serve not that much purpose other than just being a new cog type. Why is a cog type from space coming to Toontown Central and space is never really mentioned all that much there? But unless they're adding more space things, which I guess that's atomic, they're gonna feel really out of place here. I'm sure they're gonna do a lot with the story to help make them work, but they just kind of feel weird to be here without any reason really. Especially when this cog type's like a complete departure from the other 4 cog types we have. The designs here aren't too bad, just some of them feel weird for Toontown in my opinion. Like sure, we have the new enemies, but some of the designs feel a little weird, like the Rocketeer kinda. I really do like the Space Cadet's design, I think it's actually really cute. Also, the name for it could be a little weird when you look it up. It could be a person who has space travel, who's typically a young person, or someone who's out of touch reality as if they're high on drugs, huh? I mean, hey, the names aren't too bad, except for like the Moonwalker. I'll commend them for getting every other cog to do something with space, because if you look them up, I guess technically they do serve a purpose or a job. A Moonwalker is literally just a dance move. It really has zero to do with space besides the name, really. Please don't be like a Sugar Rush and name an enemy after like a pun like Bulldozer. The designs are okay, just think some of them are gonna look possibly weird in 3D, like the Space Cadet, since it's kind of just like a circle, but hey, maybe they could prove me wrong on that one. I think cogs like Ground Control and Wayfinder look pretty cool. Interestingly, my friend did actually bring up a good point with some of these names, how they didn't really exactly match with the cog names. Now, what I mean is like cogs like the Telemarketers, the Robber Barons, Bloodsuckers, cogs that basically have names that people don't really like. They're insults, they're things that people don't like in real life. Astrobots, they seem to all have like standard jobs with people in space. Toontown Online does have some names like that for the cogs, but that's not really the whole cog type. Clash pretty much followed the formula with the other 4 cog types, which I think is why so many people like them so much. I think they should have made these names for them a little more like that, but I don't know if they'll ever rechange them to accommodate that. Along with that, they actually showed their newer tunes here. Now, the newer tune choices, I'm not too sure if they're adding them, but they could be really cool inclusions. Or snake tunes. Now, the art for them actually looks amazing. In some picks like sheep, bat, fox, cow, and hell, even frog tunes, I think those are really cool new picks for Toontown. Now, things like birds, owls, and I guess seals, sure, I guess. They aren't my, like, first pick, but okay. Dragons, to be honest, they seem like a weird inclusion, but like, okay, I can kind of live with it. They're not too bad. Snake tunes might just be the weirdest one here. It feels like they're trying to make something like the Kiwi on this one, but personally, snakes just feel weird to fit in Toontown. I think most of the tune picks that they have here are not bad choices, but I do think some tunes like seals and snake tunes just feel like a really weird inclusion and something I really don't like all that much. Then we have axolotl tunes, which is, what? Okay, I know a lot of people aren't gonna like what I have to say this, because this could be a hot take, but I really think axolotl tunes are probably a really bad choice for Toontown. I don't really like axolotl tunes here, because it really only feels like it's only here because it's cute, and not really because it actually fits in Toontown. And yeah, you could make the argument that frog tunes are also the same thing, but frogs are just way better of a choice than axolotls, though. And look, I like axolotls just as much as the next guy, but this inclusion, seeing how it was even listed in the plans for Toontown Galaxy, it's gonna be one of the weirdest choices I think I've ever seen for a tune. But yes, the trailer shows this axolotl here finding a way back home. It's cool that they actually had this little mini animation. I think stuff like that's actually really cool. I still think axolotls is a weird choice, but it's really nice to see how they're setting up this story. And now we're at our final video, Horizon Talks 2. There's a lot of information for us to unpack into this video, so let's dive in. Now, during the QA portion, we see a new toon from scratch, being a dragon toon. These models for them aren't too bad, and they look pretty nice. Even though it does feel like a weird choice, I think the model looks pretty good. We get to see the new UI, and while it is a work in progress, I don't know about this one. Like, I see what potentially they tried to do. It kind of looks like that older Toontown Infinite idea that Altus also did, but it doesn't really look any better than the original, this UI. I get what they were trying to do, basically let you scroll through each gag track, which I think is okay. Personally, I kind of liked it how it was with Toontown Online and how these other servers have done their own version with it. Basically just redoing the art, and I understand that they're doing something new, which I will commend them for. But currently, as it is, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this design right now. Maybe it will feel better when you actually get to play it, but we'll have to see. Interestingly enough, we actually get to see some newer gags thrown into the mix. But as we all know, a mousetrap hurts a lot more than tripping on a skateboard and while being hit by a rake. Well, I can't judge too much on the gags right now. I do think some of these ones are pretty cool, like how there's a skateboard trap gag or a pancake throw gag. I don't really get the statue one, but if this game ever releases, I'll go more in depth with those things. Now, in a pretty fun way, they actually introduce another new gag type. The way they introduce the gag is Pants comes outside, he decapitates a Rocketeer in real life to introduce our new gag, Bonk. Now, I kinda like the idea, just the only thing that feels weird as they're trying to make a game that's more spacious, and Bonk feels more cartoony, but then again, Atomic feels more at home for the game, but it doesn't feel cartoony. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't on that one. However, Bonk is not that bad of an idea. I can already see the memes for it, but I think this is something more simple and something I can easily understand than Atomic. Also, by the way, I wish this was the way how they did the announcement with Atomic, because this felt more at home for an announcement like this. Doesn't need its whole video, but something in between of all these announcements. So I have a lot more to talk about here, so let's talk about the Astrobots in-game. It looks okay, I guess. The suit textures looks fine, but there's something to it that doesn't look as great as like the Pressbot suits or the Boardbot suits. It looks fine, but I feel like it might need a few updates and whatnot to make the suit look a little better. The model for the Rocketeer looks okay. We don't see him much in the game because we only see the behind shot, but it's looking not too bad. The head models themselves don't look bad on the Cyrogist either. The test dummy looks fine here, but the thing is, I never imagined this being a Toontown character. I feel like the design actually being put in the game makes this feel like this character was supposed to be in a completely different game. So I don't know if I like this one now all that much. The Moonwalker, I guess looks okay, but I can hardly see him. I don't know why, but he looks like he has no smile or details, but that could be because of the video. Same with the Astronomer, but the details on her don't even look finished, or this just could be an early version of what it's supposed to look like. It could be because of the cell shading making this look a little hard to describe or actually see, so overall, I think it's coming along okay. Just, I feel like there's still a lot of work they have to do with it. Along with Bonk, we actually get to see Batoons, which I won't lie, look pretty good. I like what they did with the ears. It's something I kind of wish Corporate Clash did. However, we gotta talk about how they're redoing every cog in the game so far. Now, when I helped out with the game doing the same exact thing, which is no longer being worked on, they were actually working on redoing all of the cogs, and personally, they weren't too bad since we based off them off the Series 2 trading cards. Our plan was to basically do that with all of the cogs, but we never really finished it. We only got up to the cell bots and only some cash bots. Now, the only ones in Event Horizon are weird what they showed. Now, don't get me wrong, I think some of these new cogs actually look really good, like the Corporate Raider, the Mover and Shaker, those look really good. Like, genuinely, these actually look really good, along with the Mingler. She has a really nice upgrade here. However, I don't really seem to quite understand the art direction for these cogs. Now, the Mover and Shaker, Mingler, Corporate Raider, they all look like they belong. The Moneybags looks okay, but definitely a weirder one since this guy never had eyes, but I do think he does fit quite well with the style. Now, the Name Dropper also does look alright, but she definitely does look a little weird compared to these other ones here, but it's still pretty good. What were the goals of the Gladhander here? Yeah, this guy looks the worst out of all of them. I think a lot of people can agree with that. The backstabber here just looks really odd as well. Like, his design personally doesn't look too great compared to the original. The telemarketer is okay, but I do think it could use some texture fixes along with like his baggy eyes and whatnot, but it's not too bad. The art direction for all these cogs just kind of look all over the place here. They did kind of have that with like the money bags, the Mingler, the Mover and Shaker. They had a pretty good style right there, but then with like all the other cogs, it kind of felt like some of them didn't even match at all. And also, I guess with them showing this a little early, quality with all these newer cogs. I really hope they do take feedback with some of them and actually change it, because some of them do look rough as it is right now. No disrespect to the person who made these models, they're actually really cool and very talented to how they made them. It's just, some of them look weird, as one looks original and the other one looks like they were taken from the Series 3 trading card. That's just how I feel, and I feel like they really should try to redo some of these cogs to make them all look like they belong together. Next is the teasing of the specialist cog. Now the back burner is a little odd of a concept considering it's a little bit of a weird idea. It seems like you took one of the litigation team members and put them on the street, or actually like counterclaim during that Halloween update. Now my only really question is, what's the point of fighting the back burner? I understand you have no choice in like a building, but other than that, he seems like just a cool cog that's slightly more powerful that you probably want to avoid. I think making him into like a mini boss would have given him more purpose personally, as right now all he's known is just being a litigation type of cog in the streets and nothing really more. The idea has potential, it's just they need to do something with him other than what they're saying in this trailer. The designs are cool, but it's definitely something I've never really seen for Toontown, that's for sure. Then we get introduced to overcogs, which I guess are a neat idea. Basically their take on the EXE cogs. The way they're doing it is a little weird, like a level 5 plus 15, which I'm guessing is like a level 20 flunky, can do 23 damage, and I'm sure it has a lot of health with it as well. Originally, I thought the idea of it just being numbers plus another number was kind of weird, but I think they'd rather have it be that than just be like a level 20 flunky, since maybe it wouldn't make sense. I mean, either of them don't really make sense, but I can see what they were going for. Still, this is a weird idea, but I'm sure with the gags and them being introduced, I'm sure they're going to do something where it's not annoying to fight them. And the rest of the things they're talking about is things I don't need to talk about here. So, thus far, those were all of my thoughts with Event Horizon with all of they've shown. So to wrap up this video with my thoughts with Toontown Event Horizon, it's a little bit of a mixed one right now. Everything I've been shown, while most people seem to like these kind of things, I don't really know if I can click with some of these ideas, like the shaders, or some of the cog heads, or Atomic in some ways, along with some of the strange tune choices for their newer tunes. While I do like some of the ideas for the Astrobots, and I think some of the newer cog models look really cool, a lot of what we're seeing feels kinda rushed in a way. Now what I mean is, I feel like they're trying really hard to show a bunch of unfinished and not really fully realized ideas, but still want to go ahead and show them to win people over with the game. Me personally, I feel like you really shouldn't go with this approach, because if you take a look at games like Toontown Corporate Clash, how they showed everything, it looks so cool, like how they showed a brand new Acorn Acres, how Toontown Central was redone, the newer tune models, and I felt won over of what they've accomplished and shown off and gotten completed. And hey, even other things that weren't finished in that trailer, they showed it off later on. I feel like even when games show early ideas or early concepts, I feel like they do it in a way that feels presentable and makes it look cool, but I can't really say the same with Event Horizon with how they've been showing things. And while I've gotten glimpses with that, there's just times where I feel a little bit of uncertainty with some of the things I see. Even with Toontown Rewritten, with how disastrous field offices were when they were showing it off, I still feel like with the little teasers they showed during its development, there were some things to feel excited over. They definitely knew how to hold off on showing unfinished things, and even when they did, they definitely seemed like they just needed to polish them. The Atomic video definitely felt a little confusing when I watched it. I feel like there's still some things they gotta work out with it. They only had like 3 gags ready, and one of them was just a squirt gun. Would it really have hurt if they waited to release this Atomic video and get like everything ready for it rather than just partially have this gag finish? Feels like it wasn't ready to be shown just yet. I could give Bonk a pass because it wasn't trying to be this whole video explaining it. Atomic not really having everything finished for that video made me unsure how to feel about its announcement. Now, I'm not saying in 2 months development they should have had this gag track already finished. I'm just saying they should have held off from making that video so soon, and then once they had it all finished, they should have made that video. Now, going to Horizon Talk 2 and going more towards the middle with the newer cogs, I definitely do think some of the cogs here should be given a revision. If you see the quality difference with the Corporate Raider and then you see the Glad Hander, the Corporate Raider looks 10 times better than the Glad Hander. And look, you guys don't need to be afraid of doing some changes to the new cogs after revealing them. When I was at Toontown Gear Grind, the Cellbots did go through a few changes just to get its perfect fit for its style. Well, looking back, most of them don't look great, but we try to make them look like they all fit together and make them all look pretty good. They even did this with a Specialist, showing how they wanted to do a video of him in early July, but that didn't end up happening since they put a statement on their Discord saying how they wanted to delay this so they can continue working on it. I just want to let the Event Horizon team know that there is no race or pressure for you guys to get these things out quickly. I understand understand you're excited to show all these ideas, but you gotta understand that some of the things here that I'm seeing, I don't really have that much interest because I feel like I'm still missing a lot of what's making this new feature so special. I guarantee you, if the things like the atomic video were given more time, or the cogs, or even showing the shaders working and focusing on them, making them look really great, I might have had a different opinion on them for what I have now. It's okay to just wait to show some of these things. Like, I'm not really begging for you guys to release more things as the weeks go on. If you guys need more time to just show some of these teasers, then by all means, take your time. I'm kinda glad that they're doing this with their specialist video. So here's just some of my feedback with everything I've seen. The gag UI definitely does look a little weird from how they've shown, but it's definitely still in a prototype phase, so they obviously are working on that. Some of the cog heads really need some improvements, especially with its art style, since the Cellbot one is kinda all over the place. I'm gonna assume this could possibly be the case for some of the other cog types, so I just want to say, try to keep it in style with how they do things. I feel like this one's not gonna happen, but probably give the Astrobots some more fitting names, as I do think some of them could use that insulting business term name, but in fairness, they already have these all figured out, and I don't think they're gonna really redo all of them just so they can have that little consistency. They don't have to exactly be like the Toontown Online Cogs, since this cog department is way different, but I think cogs like Moonwalker still don't really make sense with its name. The shaders and the cell shading, while the shaders look like they've had a lot of improvements, I feel like they still need a lot of work, especially the cell shading. We've seen some better things with the shaders, as I now start to think they're looking a little okay now, but I think the cell shading still does not look great with the shots we've seen with it. It just still needs a lot of work done to it to make it look pretty alright. While I can talk more about this, I just want to say importantly, just take your guys' time. You already have won an audience that really adores your guys' work, so make it count with the next thing you guys show off. Anyways, I want to leave it at, I think this game does have potential, as these things, while I've been mixed, I still do believe it can be a pretty alright game. Right now, I'm a little split with how things have been, but if they listen to the feedback to other people, and things people have to say with the game, we could possibly have a really cool server, but for now, we'll have to wait and see with how the game turns out. The people behind working on Event Horizon, I do think they're really cool people, and they definitely seem very friendly and trying hard to make this game work out, so I wish you guys luck with how everything turns out, and I just hope whatever you guys put out, it's quality, and that people can really love and enjoy this game. Anyways, that's all I have to say for this game. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.